Okay, so good morning, everybody. We're here in front of the Humboldt County Courthouse. We're about to speak with a professor from Cal Poly Humboldt who was protesting and did get arrested along with students on the night of April 29th of the wee hours of the 30th here.
Good morning. My name is Dr. Rouhollah Aghasaleh.
Okay, so tell us then why you became involved and how you feel about how things have evolved here.
I got involved after I witnessed students were assaulted on the night of April 22nd at Siemens Hall. And then as the protest continued, I was worried that the students will continue to be harmed by the forceful presence of law enforcement on campus and the threat that we continue to receive from the Chancellor's office and from the admin. I joined the students and I stayed with them for the rest of the week to make sure their message is being heard, their voices are being conveyed in a way that was meant. I facilitated some meetings between the students and the admin, and I was also worried about the students being assaulted by law enforcement. That's why I stayed till the last minute and I got arrested along with the students.
How did it feel? What was it like?
So most of us were sitting in a circle peacefully, and they were the ones who were terrified. They were the ones who were armed and militarized, and they arrived with the most forceful messages and appearance that they could have. The message from the interim chief of police, Peter Kress, was that they will come with tear gas, rubber bullets, and plastic bullets.
You may also be subject to other police action, including the use of kinetic energy projectiles and chemical agents, which include rubber bullets, plastic bullets, and CFs. Use of these devices could result in serious injury. Penal Code Section 409 prohibits remaining present at an unlawful assembly, which means that you must leave the area I prescribed. If you remain in the area prescribed, you will be invalid.
That was scary to say the least.
Yeah.
But they were the ones who were terrified. We were not doing anything unlawful. We were peacefully sitting there and sending a message. I think we got a message sent across. We made some attention and visibility to the cause.
Yeah.
And I was the one who was taking the student seat this time. I was not the teacher. I was the student.
Okay.
And these young folks were teaching me.
Okay, and if you had to put your finger on a lesson learned taught by the students on that night, what would that be?
I have been involved in so many protests, starting my high school time and in college. Sometimes I was an organizer, sometimes I was a leader of that protest. This time I was witnessing lots of criticality, very thoughtful conversation, very nuanced analysis. I was privy to some of those meetings that they were talking strategies. They were not distracted from the main message all the time, even though there were lots of violence against them. They developed mechanism to take care of themselves, the mutual aid kitchen, the medical care that they provided for one another, they just daily check-ins with each other about their mental health, their energy, their situations.
Yeah.
I never saw them fighting or arguing or debating or disputing in a bad way, which is
Right.
super interesting. I never seen that in a protest that goes like for 8 days.
Right.
I've always seen these people, get on some level of fight or dispute or disagreement, but they were discussing everything very democratically. And I was so impressed by the level of critical thinking that they had. They were discussing issues of privilege amongst themselves. They were having self-reflection on their own positionality in the world and who should take the most risk in that stressful time. I think those were so thoughtful, and I'm so proud that I had a chance to witness that.
Yeah. Um, the contrast for the police use of force or the militaristic appearance and the abilities of those police in contrast to the students was striking, wasn't it?
It was, yes. So for some young people who were not militant, who were not armed, who were not even acting any, showing any violence, that level of militarization was a surprise.
Yeah.
The level of escalation and the rate of escalation was shocking.
Right. So how was your experience once you had been arrested, going through the process of getting booked in the jail? How were you treated and how did that go?
So we knew that we were not criminals, and I think the law enforcement also knew that we were not criminals.
Yeah.
So that was an interesting interaction. They had to follow their protocol and procedures. Some of them were mindful about knowing who we are. Some of them were not proud of what they were doing to us. I could read that in some of them body language.
Okay, yeah.
So we were booked in here in the jail. I think most of the booking went smoothly for most people. There were some of us who were more uncomfortable with the process, and we had to provide support for one another. I think the fact that we were all together made us feel more safe.
Yeah.
Actually, that there was a very the juxtaposition of that militant and armed police with some of students who were like wearing costumes and they were holding like dolls and they were like chanting songs. That juxtaposition was super interesting to me. The way that seriousness and violence from the police was not taken seriously. Later here in the garage of the jailhouse, I requested to do my morning prayers. So they opened my handcuff from the back and they handcuffed me in the front.
Okay.
And they let me do my prayer. One student joined me for the prayer, and that moment was, I think, a glorious moment for everybody because people were laughing as if this was like challenging the authority.
Yeah.
So the surface level appearance of power dynamics was that they were in charge and they had us in captivity.
Yeah.
But reality was that we were the free and they were the ones who were in captivity. They were captive. So I issued a statement the night before that I won't accept bond. So I never called for a bond. And I started a hunger strike until everybody was released.
Yeah.
And it took 48 hours until Wednesday, the day after. Some students and some community members were generously and kindly posted bond for me.
Okay.
And they just sent me out of this building. They said, you cannot stay anymore because the bond has been posted and you have to leave.
Much as you wanted to continue your hunger strike, they had to kick you out.
Yes, that's right.
Okay, so for 48 hours, though, you maintained the hunger strike in there?
Correct.
Yeah. Okay, we did see students outside indicating that they were in solidarity with your hunger strike there.
Yes.
So that was something new that we haven't really seen associated with the local protest before.
Yes, I did not expect that. Some students joined me inside the jail. Some of them had a poster outside and they also joined me in solidarity. I appreciate the support and helping to make that message visible. I do not know what I have been charged or what I will be charged with. We are still awaiting our arraignments and looking forward to learn more.
Yeah, and that's why we're out here today, right?
Correct.
Okay, great. Okay, thank you so much for talking with us.